decided to go back on some of my older knives back in my early days, and I wanted to fix up some of the mistakes. For example, this old kitchen knife that I made here, the scales didn't really glue very well to the tang, and I kind of used some cheap wood. So also, there's a lot of rust and pitting on here. I want to clean that up. I want to refinish the edge. So I'm going to show you how to remove these old scales, remove all the old pins, all the old epoxy, put some brand new scales on. I have here some acrylic, nice pretty green white swirl acrylic with some G10 inserts, some green G10 inserts. So I'm going to show you how we're going to restore this knife, make it look good again, make it look clean, functional. So let's get to it. First, we're going to start by removing these old scales. So we're going to take it to the belt sander and sand off these old pins and these old scales and get all the epoxy off and get it nice and smooth so we can get it prepared for some new scales. Okay, got a used 36 grit belt on the 2x42, so we're going to start sanding off these old scales. Now we're just going to take a center punch and lightly tap out these old pins. All right, now we're just gonna lightly sand the scales and the G10 inserts so it'll glue better with the epoxy. All right, now we're going to start sanding the blade down and getting the rust and pitting off. Now I am going very light up against the platen, so I can't emphasize enough to just be very light-handed while gradually getting it away from the rust and the pitting on the blade. And I also am starting off with a 120 grit belt, a brand new one, and just going very light with it. It seems to be a good starting grit to get this finish right here. And then we're gonna move on to our Scotch-Brite belts and get a nice chrome finish to it. Now that our scales are done drying to the G10 inserts, we're going to get our scales prepped and ready to put onto our knife. Now, after I drill my first hole, I always like to put a pin in just to kind of keep it secure, and I'll also put the second pin in as so to make sure the scales don't move as you're drilling. Now, it's always important to do a dry fit before you start gluing everything together to make sure the pins line up with the holes, or you're just going to be in a whole heap of trouble and you're going to be doing the process all over again. Here I like to sand the pins. Again, it'll help the glue to adhere better to the pins, to the holes. So I always just kind of like to take 120 grit sandpaper and just kind of make it a little rougher so it stays in there better. Alright, got a used 80 grit belt on, just lightly sanding off the pins flush, and we're going to get our scales to the thickness that we want and just kind of go light-handed with it. All right, now we're going to start hand sanding. So we're going to start with 120 grit, and then we're going to work our way up to 400 grit. Now, really, when it comes down to hand sanding, it's all about preference, how you want it to feel, how smooth you want the handle to be, if you want grooves in it, if you want contouring in it. So in this particular case, this kitchen knife, it's pretty simple. I just didn't want to go too smooth. Went up to 400 grit. Nothing crazy about it. Just nice, clean design. Yep, now just take it to the buffing wheel real quick before I put some orange oil on it and give it a nice shine, and then put a nice edge on it. All right, now we're going to finish the edge up here. I have a 400 grit on here just to get the burr started on both sides. Then we're going to move to 800, then 1000. All right, we are all finished here. I think it came out really nice. Really like the way this came out. Super sharp. Love the finish. I really like the scales with the green G10 inserts. Really has a good complement. Thanks everybody for watching. Please let me know what you guys think about it in the comments below. Give me a like and a subscribe. And remember, go out and do something creative.